designer. Generally kind of stoked to bring things in my head to reality. That's what it is all about, bringing an idea to life. I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know? I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, I was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was going to be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know? Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things, it's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that, because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push, you feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it. It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away. It just makes anything else in your life disappear. I'll never be away from bikes. It's just what I do, what my family does, what everyone I know does, so safe to say it'll be around for a little while. I don't see any other way for me personally but to just go after it every day. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Life is one.
Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll-free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty. Actually, that's anywhere in the world, almost. It depends on the time of the time zone. I'm Bobby Likis. Welcome. Glad to have you join us this morning for Bobby Likis Car Clinic. From your local radio, your AM and or FM radio stations. This week, we have a Michelin and Tire Rack that present a tire safety tips, and this is the National Tire Safety Week. So sometime over the next this show, a couple hours, I will share with you some tips. TIRE, tread, for the T, inflation, rotation, and education. Of course, education is the key to power. 888 Car Clinic. Jan will take your calls and put you in a queue, and I will put you on the air. 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by AC Pro, the 10-minute auto AC cold air solution. It really works. I tried it on my car. It is a fantastic product. It's probably the safest do-it-yourselfer product that I've seen in a long time. Go to acprocold.com for the store nearest you. Also, this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Power Frame Grid Technology. Power frame grids are up to 66% more durable and more corrosion resistant than other designs. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Go to powerframe.com. Back with your calls. When it comes to your car battery, you expect it to work. Turn the key and go. Thanks to state-of-the-art engineering, strong, consistent starts are exactly what you get with PowerFrame Grid technology. Batteries that use PowerFrame Grid technology provide superior cranking power with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid designs. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
If your car's air conditioning isn't blowing cold air,
it isn't.
Then you need an AC Pro.
Is there one around here?
Yeah, you.
Me? But I can't.
New do-it-yourself AC Pro is the 10-minute cold air solution. It's fast, easy, and saves you money. With AC Pro, you'll have cold air blowing again in just minutes.
Wow, it's freezing in here, and I did it myself.
See? You are an AC Pro.
Yes, I am.
New AC Pro, the 10-minute do-it-yourself auto AC cold air solution.
Stant is the nation's leading manufacturer of automotive fuel caps, radiator caps, and thermostats. Stant brings their original equipment expertise to the Stant line of quality aftermarket products. Take fuel caps. Stant offers the only aftermarket fuel cap designed and manufactured with all the safety features of OE caps. A lost motion feature gives the cap handle some freedom to turn while maintaining a seal. A breakaway groove allows the cap to remain sealed even if some of the cap has broken away. Both are safety features helping prevent fuel leakage during a crash. Further, Stant locking fuel caps protect your vehicle from fuel theft and vandalism. Older fuel cap seals can leak over time, which allows fuel vapors to escape and can also affect gas mileage. Replacing your gas cap is an easy and inexpensive maintenance item for your vehicle. Drive to Stant.com to learn more. Stant, we work well under pressure.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
It straddles the line between timeless classic and modern luxury.
The grape tomato.
The ruby red in a sea of greens. The muse behind the great chef, Boyardee.
Beefaroni. Mi amore.
Oh, tomato. Are you fruit? Are you vegetable?
What is identity?
Groceries, essentials, signature value.
The Everyday Collection by Target.
Hey, Todd. Where's our sub?
Oh, Samantha. I've already given my sub to Sally.
What? Sally? Hey, Samantha. How could you?
I got a phone call. Todd.
Men.
This is Todd.
Get your own steak and bacon melt with mountains of juicy steak and melty cheese. Subway Steak Melts. Subway. Eat fresh.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started on this hour, and I would invite you to call earlier versus later so that I would have time, you and I, to talk about your particular car problem, if you have a car problem. If you don't, maybe you have a shop that has done a really good service for you and you just want to praise them, then there's nothing that would warm my heart any better. And I don't know if you've ever had anyone to do anything for you above and beyond. You know, when you take your car in for service, you expect it to be repaired. You know it's going to cost you, so you expect it to be repaired and repaired right the first time. But it's the things that a service shop can do for you that are beyond what they're supposed to do that separates that shop from any other shop. And it doesn't matter whether it's an independent automotive service shop, which is Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, or it's a new car dealership shop, or it's a chain store. All of the individuals, we're all humans and we're in the automotive service, so it's up to us to provide for you, number one, education. And I mentioned the Michelin and Tire Rack, the tire, Tire, safety tips. I'll get to that a little bit later in the program, but it's the education that's really important. I know you don't need to know how a fuel injector works or what the orifice size is or what the on time or off time is, although sometimes that's kind of neat to understand those sorts of things. For example, the on time for an injector is 3 milliseconds. A blink of an eye, blink your eye. That's 0.2 of a second or 200 milliseconds, and an injector is open 3 milliseconds. In fact, in the time that an injector is open and closed, a hummingbird would, actually, in the time that a hummingbird's wings would go up and down, one flap up and one down, an injector has already worked 5.5 times. So that shows you just how quick those injectors are, and that's a technical part of the cars that we drive these days, and the cars that we drive are very technical. They're all computer controlled. If you replace a door lock mechanism, let's say the automatic door lock doesn't work on the driver's door, which is usually the case. I mean, it's never one that you can, forego. You got to get that one fixed. And so when that opens we replace it in a service shop, we can't just replace the part with a new part and expect it to work. We have to introduce the new part or initialize a new part so that the car knows it has a new part on it. And you say, well, seems like that's a lot of problems, a lot of trouble. The reason that's made that way is so that in an accident, the car knows to deploy the airbags. The car knows to tighten the seat belts. The seat belts have little explosive devices in them that cinch you versus letting you go forward and into the steering wheel or the dash. And that saves you from possibly breaking not only your face, but it saves you from breaking ribs and cracking other bones in your body. And also helps to subdue that internal thunder or crash or a pressure that reaches the passenger's compartment in a crash. So those are things that are part of the system of the automobile that is controlled by computers, and these computers all are interconnected. They're all knowing. The left hand knows what the right hand's doing, whether it's the rear sensor, whether it's cameras on board, lane-changing devices, anti-skid or anti-lock brakes. steering. We align cars, and we have to set the steering alignment sensor. All those things are important to be synchronized. And so over time, some of those things become unsynchronized. And when that happens, your car doesn't drive like it did. It doesn't run like it did. And those are the sorts of things that you need to be aware of. So if you've got a question, Jan will take your call at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. That's 227-2546, and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. I want to reach out to Alamogordo, Mexico, New Mexico, KRSY 1230 AM. So if that's your neck of the woods, and it is for Les Hinkle and Kelly Lynch, the general manager and program director for our Car Clinic affiliate in Alamogordo, New Mexico, KRSY 1230 AM. Let me hear from you at 888-227-2546. For those of you who tune in to Car Clinic on a regular basis, you know that I am a proponent of Royal Purple oil. Not only do I use that in my cars, all of my cars, but we offer it for all of our Car Clinic service pre-repair customers. So what percentage of all the oil, let's say all the oil changes that we do in a year's time, how many out of 100, how many are Royal Purple? And I just happen to know the figure. That's why I bring it up. It's like 59.6. It rounded up. It's 60%. Rounded down, it's still 59% of every oil change that we perform in our service shop. We use Royal Purple synthetic oil. Why? Number one, makes us look good because it protects our customers' cars. And I don't know of any of our customers that I can think of, and I'd have to do some research here, that has lost an engine due to a lubrication problem, actually since using Royal Purple. And to be in all fairness, I can't think of anyone that lost an engine due to lubrication with or without Royal Purple. What causes engines to wear out? Well, number one, dirt in the oil. Overheating is normally what happens when a water pump goes out and or a hose bursts, and you see that exit like 5 or 6 miles up, and you say, I can make it. Well, yeah, but just think about a burning metal building, and all the skin is burned off, and you come by and see it after it's been put out. What do you see? Mangled and twisted steel beams, and that's a given. Well, that's the same thing happens to your engine when it overheats to a point that it warps. And how does it warp? Well, the heads change shape and the block changes shape because it gets too hot. And when it does, it lifts off. The head, it being the head, lifts off. The gasket blows. And then that means that the combustion goes right into the cooling system because there's no gasket to separate the two, to contain. So the bottom line is, when your engine, and if your engine overheats, find a safe place and pull off the road. Don't try to make it to the next exit. And just know this, that if you're patient and you don't want to be alone on the road, and no one does, and you don't, there's a short distance up there, let the car sit for 30 minutes and then crank it up and drive it a mile and shut it down. Let the car sit for 30 minutes. You could drive across the U.S. with no water in any engine with no damage. You wouldn't want to do this, but if you had to, it's good to know that you could, but you would have to be very patient, and you would have to let the engine cool down and then fire it up and understand. And this reminds me of the Cadillac with the North Star engine, which was one of my favorite, if not my favorite engines to come out of Detroit. The North Star engine would shut down when it lost its coolant. 4 of its 8 cylinders, and it would pump, but it would still pump air in those cylinders. So you had one cylinder adjacent to another cylinder, and one was making heat because you had a V8 engine. It was now in the a 4-cylinder. One cylinder was making heat. The other one was not making heat because it was pumping air. So it was actually a cooler. So one cylinder actually would cool down the adjacent cylinder that was working, and when it ran so hot, and you continued to drive the car, and you could drive the car 50 miles with no water. I've never seen anyone do that, but I also have yet to see any North Star engines that came into the shop with defective or warped blocks or heads. Yes, we've seen a lot with oil leaks. They had some oil leak problems because that was GM's, I think, first all-aluminum engine. So the initial batch, or a couple of years, they had some challenges, but as they came out with newer and newer units, they were much better. And they were more consistent in the machining work and all the things that go into making an engine run well. Hey, your calls, 888-227-2546. I mentioned Royal Purple. I also want to let you know that the HMX, high mileage engine oil, if your car has over 75,000 miles, is a great choice for you. So the next time you change oil in your car, just upgrade to Royal Purple Synthetic, and if the car has 70 to 100,000 miles on it, I would recommend that you upgrade to HMX, which is the high mileage engine oil. And just for those techies out there, is there a difference in the oil formulation? You bet. There's a parts of, and I'm not a chemist, so I know it's phosphorus is one of them. I'm not going to go in there and try to come up with all the chemical names. We would invite Chris Barker from Royal Purple here to share with us what's in that stuff, if he would. I know he would, some of it. But the bottom line is the HMX is a great oil, and it will protect your engine as your engine gets older, and your engine does wear, and it has more clearance, and it also it needs a little more slipperiness. It needs a little more grease in its bones and its bearings and its rods in order to run and continue to run better. Also, you think of if you have a diesel engine, the Max-Tane Total Diesel Fuel Additive for the diesel owners out there is a great product. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back and take your calls at 888-227-2546. And also, when I come back, I'll tell you about some news about Royal Purple and some race cars. Lingenfelter Performance Engineering, 888-227-2546 when I come back. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction, brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Automatic transmissions generate heat and depend on the transmission fluid for cooling and protection. Fact. Yes, transmissions generate a lot of heat, and especially so when towing, tackling hills, and increasing your vehicle's weight with cargo or passengers. And while more than 90% of all automatic transmission failures are caused by overheating, the life of a transmission can be doubled by a 20-degree reduction in fluid temperature. Royal Purple's Max ATF is a synthetic, high-performance automatic transmission fluid that significantly reduces heat and wear, making shifting smoother and extends transmission life. When choosing oil, lubricants, or additives for your vehicle, consider Royal Purple. Visit royalpurple.com for testimonials and for all the Royal Purple advantages. Then pick up Royal Purple's Max ATF at Pep Boys today.
O'Reilly. Sign up to become an O'Reilly O Rewards member today and start earning instantly. O Rewards members earn $5 back for every $150 they spend, so if you haven't become a member yet, what are you waiting for? It's fast, easy, and free. O Rewards, it's your road to exclusive offers only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Cleanliness is the key to a great brake job. Using Brake Clean from CRC Industries assures you that all harmful brake parts contamination will be whisked away quickly. CRC tip: installing a new brake drum or rotor? Use CRC Brake Clean to remove all the protective oil used in packaging. Another tip from CRC: protect all the external components from corrosion by spraying with CRC Power Lube. Power Lube prevents corrosion and keeps things working smoothly. Find out more automotive service solutions by visiting crcindustries.com or find them on Facebook.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
When we play a game together, I probably won't say,
"Thanks for making me the focus of all your attention and energy."
I'll just give you a hug when I get a triple word score in Scrabble.
Or do a little dance as I make my first million in the game of life.
And I may not say, "Hey, this means a lot to me."
I may not say it, but you'll know.
Parker Brothers and Milton Bradley invite you to plan a family game night for your family tonight. Everybody who plays wins.
Mom, Dad, thanks for playing.
We'll be back with more music, but first a look at weather. Here's meteorologist Tom Sparks.
Thanks, Chad. There's a front moving in from the south, which is going to mix with warm air, giving us the distinct possibility for showers over the next few days. In fact, some of them are going to be big soakers, let me tell you. However, if you're planning any outdoor activities for the weekend, I have good news.
So it's going to be clear?
No, I just saved a bunch of money on car insurance by switching to Geico.
See what you could save. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I mentioned the Royal Purple in Lingenfelter, and I want to share that with you. But first, the clock is ticking, and you have less than a week to enter my Car Story with Dad contest. And the prize is an Escort Passport Max. It's a $550 value, compliments of Escort radar. That would really be a nice Father's Day gift to a dad, from a dad, or if you're a dad, to yourself. I'll announce the lucky winner on a Car Clinic next week. All you have to do to enter is to send me your car story with Dad to, and here's the address, easy to remember, car story at carclinicnetwork.com. That's car story at carclinicnetwork.com. Meanwhile, here's a great car story from Sue Broadwell in Wichita Falls, Texas. And Sue writes to me, Bobby, I wanted white walls on my Corvair in high school back in the mid-'70s, so we ordered some inserts from the J.C. Whitney catalog. You had to take each wheel off, let the air out of the tire, break the bead on the tire, put the insert on, then inflate and remount the wheels. Now picture this. A car tire laying on its side in the backyard of our military housing. Father and daughter standing face to face, holding on to each other's shoulders and bouncing up and down on this stupid tire, trying to break the bead. Neighbors grilling in their backyard with guests watching said father-daughter escapade. Father slipping and scraping his shin. Not sure how we got the other 3 tires done, but it probably involved duct tape, JB Weld, and Band-Aids. Sue Broadwell, Wichita Falls, Texas. And to read this is really cool. And thank you, Sue. To read this and other car stories with Dad, go to facebook.com/Bobby Likis. And make sure you send to me this week. Hustle up. Don't waste time. For a chance to win the Passport Max. It's a $550 value. All you have to do is send me your car story with Dad, or if you're like me, I told a story recently where I bought my daughter a car, and actually I didn't buy it for her. I thought I was buying it for her 16th birthday, but it was a car that I would like to have. And luckily enough for all of us, I drove it the day before her birthday and saw that it was a hot rod. It was too fast, and it went round and round in the wrong place. And so I bought her a little 90 horsepower Nissan. So it was a much safer thing to do. And I'm glad, as I reflect, that I really had the sense enough to do that, or at least I was lucky enough. I'll say luck is luck. I was lucky enough, folks, that I drove it in the rain the day before her birthday, and it went round and round. And I was not even doing my plaything. I was just sort of driving it normal. That's when I knew, hey, this won't work for her. So I kept that car for a while and traded it for another classic vehicle at the time. 888-227-2546. Again, I remind you to send me your car story with Dad at carstory at carclinicnetwork.com. So I do want to send congratulations to our partners at Royal Purple. I mentioned Lingenfelter. Royal Purple has been named the official lubricant for Lingenfelter Performance Engineering. And folks, Royal Purple products will be used in all of the Lingenfelter tuned vehicles, including the Chevrolet Reaper high-performance pickup truck, the C7 Corvette, the Camaro, and the Cadillac CTS-V. And Lingenfelter will also recommend Royal Purple's full line of premium lubricants and additives for its customers' high-performance vehicles. And in addition to serving as Lingenfelter's official lubricant provider for its passenger cars and trucks, get this, Royal Purple products will be used in Lingenfelter's race team, road, and drag racing campaigns. So Royal Purple's branding will be featured prominently on the L28 Camaro during the Ultima Streetcar Invitational at drag strips across the country and on the team's trailer and fire suits. So keep a lookout. And when you think of high-performance and Lingenfelter and Corvettes and all those high-performance engines, and then you think about what you drive, just remember that same bearings, the same rods, maybe not the same size, maybe not the same as far as the cost, but those very same dynamics and physics that go on inside those racing engines goes on with your car that you drive on the street every day. When you fire that car up in the morning, the first thing that the engine has to do, it's after the engine gets out of bed, its heart has to start pumping. And the engine comes to life and is running before the oil pump is pumping oil. Think about it. I mean, our hearts, if our hearts stop, we'd never wake up. But you crank an engine up, the oil pump doesn't run, and oil doesn't flow until after the engine is turning and running, and then the oil flows. And furthermore, think about this. The cylinders, that's the pistons, where the pistons go up and down in the rings, the cylinders receive no lubrication in the crank mode. The cylinders only get lubricated when and after the engine is running, because it is the oil that comes from the rods and the crankshaft turning that is thrown onto the underside of the pistons and the cylinders that lubricate the pistons and the cylinders. So you could take, and this is not a theory, this is a fact, you could take a brand new engine that had 5 miles or 5,000 miles on it, a perfectly good automobile. You wouldn't do this, but you could. And you could disconnect the ignition system and crank the engine. And you can disconnect the fuel too, because you wouldn't want to pump fuel in the engine. So you're basically just cranking the engine over, and ultimately, the longer you cranked, the more damage you would do, because whatever film of oil is left on the engine the last time you ran it is whatever is left to lubricate until it gets a new supply after the engine is running. And that's a part that we never think about. And another interesting factor that we hardly ever think about is the fact that you drive your car, let's say 15 miles to work, and you shut it off. Let's say you were doing an oil test on it and testing the engine's wear factor and the oil's life. Did you know that you fire the engine up, so the oil has to come up to operating temperature? So that takes 5, 6, 8, sometimes 20 minutes really to get an engine up to operating temperature. And so you drive it, and then you park it. So you say, okay, I've been on the road for 1 hour. This engine should have 1 hour's worth of use time, like in a plane. It's got 1 hour in the sky, right? That's wrong, because for the engine, yes, but for the lubricants and the coolants and all of the sustaining lifebloods of the engine and the car from bumper to bumper, those fluids still retain heat when you shut the engine down. The transmission's fluid is still hot when you turn the engine off. For how long? It depends. It depends on what the ambient temperature is, and depends on how hot it was when you turned it off. An engine will actually increase in temp when you shut an engine down some 30 degrees to 40 degrees, and an engine that's running 220 degrees, the valves, after you shut the engine down, can be up to 600 degrees. And that's a lot of temp. And why is that important for you to know? Not that you can do anything about it. It's just that the maintenance care of your automobile depends, and the engine, the life of the engine depends on the maintenance and the care that you provide for it. And when you're buying a product, whether it's oil or gasoline or windshield washer fluid, I mean, you say, well, that's a nit. Well, not if you live in cold country, because if you put regular water without any antifreeze, windshield washer antifreeze, and I don't mean the same stuff that goes in the radiator, then it will freeze and it won't work, and it will destroy the little pump that's supposed to pump it, and a whole list of other car parts. So there's specifics, and that's why they make specifications and factory make. And you heard earlier, you may have heard a spot from Stant that says they're original equipment, and they are. They just like Delphi has the DNA of all the cars, because they make parts for 25, of the OEMs. That's a lot of car parts for a lot of different manufacturers, whether it's a Ford, a Chevy, a Chrysler product, a BMW, a Mercedes, a Kia. And speaking of Kia, I'll share some news with you. Just outside Car Clinic Studio is a 2015. I don't know why it took me so long to get around to this. I didn't think about it. Just outside our studio is a 2015 K900 Kia. It is a beautiful luxury car. It's here for me to test for a week, and I will be testing it after the program today on a road trip. And it has 420 horsepower, an 8-speed transmission. It has an electronics media, social media center that is unbelievably full and filled with things to learn and part of the car that I really enjoy the most. And what I'm most enamored by it is the cruise control that literally locks onto, with the use of radar, it locks onto the car in front of you. And folks, I'll just share a short story with you. I drove this car yesterday, and I was on I-10, and I had to get off of I-10 around the curve to I-110, headed south and into Pensacola, Florida, where I had to exit the I-110 onto Airport Boulevard and stop at a traffic light, where I had to accelerate from the traffic light and turn left and come down to Davis Highway, which is a block or a block and a half from where our studio is located. I did all of this by latching the cruise onto the car that I was following, and we had been out shooting some video with this car, and I drove from I-10 to I-10 South and stopped on the exit and followed the car in front of me all the way to the back door of our facility, and I never touched the brake nor the gas. The car accelerated and stopped in unison with the car that I was following, which was my associate, and Tony was in the car there, and I was. So it's amazing. And so you've heard of Google and Google cars that drive themselves, and you say, well, can we use that? I will tell you, it took some doing for me to give up that control. And, is this car going to stop? Hey, wait, Tony's getting in the other lane for the stop, and this is Airport Boulevard. Will this car stop? And sure enough, the car came to a stop, and then the little button that you push that follows the car in front to accelerate, and you just say, okay, it's time to go, and unbelievably smooth. And the K900 is Kia's first entry into the luxury market. So when you get a chance, just go to kia.com and check out the K900. And next week, after I've had my trip after today's broadcast, I'll share with you what I really think is really neat about the car. I like the cameras. You can sit in the car, and it's as though you have a little drone placed directly overhead, because you can see 360 degrees around the automobile. Unbelievable. Escort, Father's Day celebration. I'll tell you about this when I come back, and I'll take your calls at 888-227-2546. I'm Bobby Likis. Don't touch that dial. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. Seasoned criminals, bad weather, and ants at an autumn picnic. All threats we'd rather avoid. But these pale in comparison to the number one menace of Americans aged 6 to 33, car crashes. Because crashes are predicted to involve 42,000 in the U.S. this year, an en route accident may be the biggest menace between you and the apple dunking contest. To avoid becoming a victim of this threat, with rates higher than crime and cost over $230 billion, watch your speed. Make it clear that everyone who's riding will buckle up and that no one who's intoxicated will drive. Though you can't do much about a rained-out picnic, it'd be a crime to let a preventable crash keep you from the next one. This Drive Smarter tip is brought to you by Escort. Don't just drive, drive smarter. Escort. To choose the best radar or laser detector for you, drive to escortradar.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
This is Tom.
What's up?
Sitting in his cubicle.
Actually, it's called a workstation.
Whatever. Tom is slowly dying in his workstation.
I mean, aren't we all dying, really, if you think about it?
Let's not get philosophical, Tom. Just go to careerbliss.com. Follow companies that you find. Apply to openings right online. Check salaries and read reviews. Score a career that's perfect for you.
I feel alive!
Choose happy. careerbliss.com.
I'm your blind spot. And my job is easy. Hide big things.
You're good.
And if you named your own price on car insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get Allstate. You can save money and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate agents.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long did it take?
3 business days. Oh, plus 1 Saturday.
Correct. Oh. A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
It's Practical Poly Radio. I've switched to cooking with healthier oils. So now what do I do with all these tubs of lard? Skinny jeans feeling too tight? A bit of lard on your hips and thighs and those pants slide on like a dream. So there's no need for that lard to go to waste. But get your best heart-healthy trade-up with healthier oils, like canola, olive, or other vegetable oils, which can actually lower your chances for heart disease. Learn more at heart.org/facethefats. Canola Info is the national supporter of the American Heart Association's Face the Fats campaign.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Every Saturday from 10 till noon, just set your clock and tune in and call me with your car questions at 888 Car Clinic, and we'll talk cars. You know, one of the things that is most exciting to me is I'm lucky enough to have a passion for and always cared for automobiles. I love the way they're made, the way they're put together, and I have high standards with regard to fit and finish and performance and noise and those sorts of things. The Kia, the K900 that I mentioned earlier, probably has the quietest engine that of any V8 that I can think of just off the top of my head. I know that it is a maybe 3 times quieter than the overhead cam Jag. The Jag engine's really noisy when you fire it in the morning. It has 48 valves and twin cams and those sorts of things. And until the oil circulates, it definitely has a little chain noise. It's a little discerning, and especially when I compare that, which I've had that in my garage for the last year and a half. I compared that to the K900. And you fire it up in the garage, and you've got the walls, and so while the garage door may be open, you still haven't backed out yet. So that gives me a real good feel for any new noises that shouldn't be there. And because I'm just a tech guy, car guy anyway, I'm going to hear whatever noise that there is. And So you have to train yourself, even if you've been in the business a long time, just like a doctor would have ongoing training in our industry. It's critical that you have, and wherever you take your car, that you have that service provider that is trained and understands the business that he or she is in. And I think about that. I think about our service shop, and I think about a dealership service shop, and I think about a chain store, and I say, well, how do we all qualify? Well, we know that a Chevy store is qualified to work on Chevys, but you have the same technicians. I mean, there are many technicians that jump ship, or there are many shop owners that hire technicians away from a good technician. I mean, our guys get hit on all the time. I mean, they do. They people call them and said, hey, we'd like for you to come and work with us, and let me give you $2 more an hour or something like that. And that's when it really separates the integrity of the individual. And to that end, we recently had with Terry, and you've heard me talk about Terry Elm on this program quite often, our ASE Master automotive service technician, and also has like a automotive PhD in alternate fuels as well. And now his next step is going to be into hybrids. So a lot of exciting things that we do at our service shop. And so he recently had another shop to call him and say, we would like to pay you, and I'm sure this would be a side job to take care of some of our business. He said, well, let me put you in touch with our service director, and that way you can schedule your car. Well, that's not what that other shop intended, but it just shows you the integrity of someone because his 5 days a week and his allegiance should be to this business because we provide training, we provide all of the things that a good provider or a good place to work should, and then he provides the services, and he's also an integral part of our training, and he's I would say more of a shop manager than just a lead technician. Lead technician means he's the number one guy in the shop. How does that work? It depends on the educational level of that individual and his training and his capability. Now, I said all that to say this. Should you take your Chevrolet to a Chevy store, or should you take it to a private individual shop? And the answer is it depends. Now, we know that during the warranty period, you're going to take the car back to the new car dealer and have services performed there. And not that you have to, by the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, you don't have to take it there. But let's say that you know that it's under warranty, so if anything should be not going on right, or any recalls or any updates on software, that should all be covered by the warranty. So I agree there. But are there new car dealerships that work on all makes and models? That's a good question. And I know of a couple. I know of one in Daytona. In Daytona Beach, and that's John Hall Chevrolet. And Tony Gain is the service director for the group, and it's a John Hall group, really. And they have Hyundai and Cadillac and Buick, and they also have, of course, Chevrolet. That's their I would say their main line. And John Hall just recently built an automotive body shop. And it's a John Hall body shop, but it's not John Hall Chevrolet body shop. It's John Hall body shop. And so Tony works on all makes and models. So if you've got a Ford and you have a fender bender, and you talk to your friend and they say, well, yeah, I'm going to take my Ford over to John Hall. Oh, wait, that's a Chevy store. What do you mean? Well, folks, the same technician that puts the fender or straightens the chassis on a Chevrolet has learned on the chassis machine, and you don't think that they make the machine just for Chevrolets. They just don't. That doesn't. I mean, it's like saying, "Oh, I've got to have a shot of B12 here. Give me a B12 syringe." Really? No, not at all. So don't put yourself. And I'm sort of talking to myself here as well. And I'm going to take a call from Dwayne, who is coming up. But I just wanted to share with you, there are just certain things that you may have in your mind, and policies and procedures and habits that you need to rethink, because it's not that a technician is trained only on Chevrolets or only on Fords or only on, because our technicians have to walk the walk and talk the talk from line to line. That's a big responsibility. Are we proficient in all cars? Absolutely not. No one can be proficient in 100% of all the cars made, because there are too many and there are too many lines. But the main thing is to know where to go to get the information, and that's where the company and the technician comes in, the service company and provider, because you got to have all of those in-house capabilities and find that information. It's very interesting. It's interesting for me because I'm a small business owner and have been for a long time, and I love the automotive industry. And I'll again just remind you, in the Daytona area, if you've got a whatever car, all makes and models, check it out, John Hall's new body shop, and that's what it is. It's a body shop. So if you got a bent body, I don't think I'll go there. Let's go to Dwayne. Dwayne, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding. I got on a rant there about servicing cars, and you've got an 08 Tiburon. Oh, how you like the car?
I love it. It's been great. It's actually my first car, and it's treated me well.
Well,
all these years.
That's great. I remember my first car. It treated me well, but I didn't treat it so well. But that's another. that's another. I'll tell you. That's another story. You know, it's young drivers, and obviously you're a young driver, but you got to know that it's great to go, but it takes more horsepower to stop a car than it does to propel a car. And you don't think about that, but it does. And an automobile, the tires of a car. And I'll tell you that story about the tires of a car and the patch on the road. But your question, how may I help you? Thanks for calling.
Well, I was driving down the interstate going roughly 70 miles an hour or so, and I noticed some vibration in my steering wheel that I hadn't seen before. And I do have to take this car on a road trip and relatively soon, like within a week or so. I was wondering if there were any advice that you could give me on how to get this fixed.
Well, the first thing, of course, there's some things for you to do and things for your shop to do. And Dwayne, here's where you got to know when to hold them and know when to seek. I'm glad you called me. Number one, when you park the car next, turn the wheel, or if it's out in your garage, turn the wheel all the way to the right or left so you can see the tread. Look at the tread. Take a penny and pinch the penny between your thumb and forefinger and put that penny into the tread and look Abe's head. And if you can see any of the top of Abe's head, then that tire needs to be replaced. And you don't just check the tire tread on one of the treads. You check the outside tread, you check the inside tread, and you check the center of the tire. And they make little gauges. I mean, for $2 you can buy a tread depth gauge, which it should be a starter kit for every car. Should have an air gauge and a tread depth gauge. And so the first thing I want you to do is to look at the tread to see how healthy or if it's scalloped. And so I think what you're getting, does your car vibrate when you touch the brake, or when you're driving down the highway?
When I'm driving down the highway.
Okay. So I'm going to say that it's a simple out of balance. And I'm going to follow up that with there's no such thing as a simple out of balance. There's always some other mitigating factors that are involved. And here's a good example. A wheel could be bent. The tire could have a bad cord in it. It could be certainly out of balance. But here's the trouble. And you feel it because you've driven the car at 70 miles an hour. Now, you feel it in the steering wheel. But from the steering wheel down to where the tires are held in position by the little tie rod ends, that's a lot of mechanical linkages. For you to feel a shimmy in the steering wheel, the shake at the tire and wheel itself would be violent because it has to transmit that vibration. So when we balance tires, of course, we take the tire off and put it on the machine, and we stop the tire from shaking at its source within itself, and then we put it back on the car, and for the most part, you won't feel vibration. So that's what I would recommend that you do is you inspect the tires, and of course you can look at the rears as well, and you want to rotate every 5,000 to 7,000 miles. Do you have any idea how long it's been since these tires have been rotated?
Roughly 5,000.
Well, you're good. You're doing a good job. If you're switching them out at 5,000 miles, you'll get more mileage out of your tires than your neighbor will that's not rotating tires. Anyway, so take it into a shop. You check pressures first, and after you check the pressure, make sure they're within. And the pressure, by the way, Dwayne, is not the pressure that's on the sidewall of the tire. It is on the decal on the door pillar, like when you open the driver's door. Sometimes it's on the glove compartment, but you can find it. It's the VIN label, the vehicle identification number label, the decal. It'll give you the tire pressure and those sorts of things. And I like to run about 2 to 3 psi more than what the factory suggests. And that gets longer tire life, and because tires never make air pressure, they lose air pressure. Anyway, you got it. So you take your car in, you check it first, and then check for that because you're checking for alignment wear, and then have your tires balanced, and that should take care of your shimmy. But make sure that if you have the tires balanced and you still feel the shimmy, that you go back and have them to check. And there are different kinds of checks that we can do. You got it?
I got it.
Okay. Thanks for your call.
All right. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. 888-227-2546. I mentioned Michelin and Tire Rack present a tire safety tips. So this is a perfect time, and this week is National Tire Safety Week, and according to the experts at Michelin and Tire Rack, all you need to remember is TIRE, tread. Tread and traction are linked. the grooves in your tires are there to help channel water away. And you can, as I mentioned to Dwayne, you can use a coin like a penny or a quarter to check your tread depth. If you see the very top of George Washington's head when the coin is inserted into the tread, you have less than 430 seconds of tread remaining. In most states, 230 seconds is the legal minimum. Be sure to check both the inner and outer tread, as I just mentioned. So from T, we go to I, T-I-R-E, inflation. Tire pressure influences the safety and the MPG, so pressure should be checked at least once a month. And tire pressure for your car is found on the door jamb sticker, as I just mentioned to Dwayne, on the inside of the glove compartment door or the owner's manual. Don't inflate the tires to the maximum pressure molded onto the tire sidewall. That's the building code for the tire. And you check the tires cold for the most accurate reading, and this means in the morning before you drive more than 2 to 6 miles or before the sun's heat can affect the tires. And don't forget the spare. Rotation, T-I and now R. R is for rotation. Regular rotation extends the life of your tires and should be done every 6,000 to 8,000 miles. And then last, and I want to credit Michelin and Tire Rack for this, is E, education. Unfortunately, tire safety is not often taught in driver's ed classes, which is why Tire Rack continues to support Tire Rack Street Survival. It's a national driver education program aimed at teaching teens the skills they need to stay alive behind the wheel. With the months between Memorial Day and Labor Day being the 100 deadliest days for teens, it's more important now than ever for adults, teens, and all drivers sharing the road to be prepared. This is just part of your preparation. The goal is for students to understand how their actions govern a car's responses and what their vehicle's limitations are, and as a result to becoming safer, more effective drivers on the road and learning how to avoid accidents entirely altogether. You can see the schedule or you can request to be notified about upcoming schools in your area for your schools throughout the nation by visiting streetsurvival.org. And again, folks, that's streetsurvival.org, and that information is courtesy of Michelin and Tire Rack. That's the end of this hour broadcast. Another great hour of Bobby Likis coming up. 888 Car Clinic. Your calls after the top of the hour. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. From Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus. Every time the cost of a barrel of oil goes up $1, it costs the U.S. Navy $31 million. But it's costly in more ways than just money. For every 50 convoys of gasoline we bring in, we lose a Marine, killed or wounded. That is too high a price to pay for fuel. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, spank my bottom and call me polyethylene. I'm recyclable. Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6. In the spirit of conservation, this commercial uses 100% recycled words. Yep, just like water bottles or cans of garbanzo beans. I've used all 160-odd words in this commercial before to describe Motel 6, like clean, comfortable, and lowest price of any national chain. That was a whole six-pack I just recycled there. I figure why make new words when those work just fine? So I can tell you what a great value Motel 6 always has been and still is without contributing to a verbal landfill or increasing my jargon footprint. I see it as doing our part to conserve our precious verbal resources, and that feels pretty good. Almost as good as saving money. I bet this'll sound familiar too. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour.
We gotta hit it every day. My name's Roland Sands. I am a motorcycle builder, designer. Generally kind of stoked to bring things in my head to reality. That's what it is all about, bringing an idea to life. I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know. I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, I was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was going to be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know. Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things. It's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push. You feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it.
Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty. Another number is 888 Car Clinic. We've also added that to our database so that it'd be easy for you to remember if you're driving down the road. You know, who remembers a number? You can transpose that 888 Car Clinic to 888-227-2546. I want to reach out to KURM 790 AM, one of my favorite affiliates from Rogers, Arkansas. Kermit Womack, the Colonel, General Manager and Program Director, and an icon in Arkansas. No question about it. The Colonel is an icon. We could do a complete hour just on his kids. I wouldn't call them kids, young daughters and sons that really have served our nation in the military. KURM 790 AM, Rogers, Arkansas. I'll take your calls now at 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by K&N, the original performance air filter of NASCAR. And also, this segment is brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts, featuring thousands of quality auto parts in stock for your vehicle. Brands you can trust like Wagner Brakes, Monroe Shocks, Gates Belts and Hoses, Superstart Batteries, and more at guaranteed low prices, and their professional parts people can even get these hard-to-find parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, back with your calls. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Vehicle Maintenance Spotlight, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now is the perfect time to become an O Rewards member at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Sign up today as an O Rewards member and start earning instantly 1 point for every $1 you spend. Reach 150 points and a $5 certificate will be issued via mail or email. O Rewards membership is fast, easy, free, and only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. See store for details. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly.
Sign up to become an O'Reilly O Rewards member today and start earning instantly. O Rewards members earn $5 back for every $150 they spend, so if you haven't become a member yet, what are you waiting for? It's fast, easy, and free. O Rewards, it's your road to exclusive offers only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This mailbag is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. Frank in Minneapolis writes, Bobby, we finally have some warmer weather here in Minnesota, and I'm getting my lawn tractor and motorcycle ready to rumble. I hear you mention that K&N makes filters for just about everything. Does K&N have reusable filters for lawn tractors also? I have K&N filters on all my family cars and like that you can clean them and don't have to replace them. Frank, thanks for being a Car Clinic listener and emailing your question. K&N does make reusable filters for many lawn tractors and other small engine industrial equipment like generators and lawnmowers. A quality, high-filtration product is definitely beneficial in a lawn mowing environment, given the debris that's generated. And K&N also makes great, easy-to-install filters for your motorcycle designed to increase power and performance. Drive to knfilters.com, take a virtual tour, and find all the reasons why K&N is the world's best air filter.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
First rule of business, hard work equals success. That's why Geico is consistently rated excellent or better in terms of financial strength. Second rule, don't steal a co-worker's egg salad, especially if it's marked the gecko. Come on, people. Geico is the third largest car insurance company in the nation. But it's not like we're kicking back now having a cup of tea. Takes a lot of sweat to become that big. Of course, geckos don't literally sweat. It's just not our thing. But I do work hard, mind you.
Home. It's the place you like to make warm and inviting. What could be more welcoming than the aroma of fresh coffee brewing? When a coffee is Starbucks, the experience only gets richer. You'll find Starbucks coffee at your grocery store so you can enjoy it at home. Its distinctive roasting style and rich, authentic taste show how seriously we pursue the art of coffee. Savor its aroma, then pour a cup and invite your senses to take flight. Starbucks coffee at your grocery store.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your hosts, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Don't forget, folks, to go enter my Car Story with Dad contest. The prize is an Escort Passport Max. It's a $550 value, compliments of Escort radar. And I'll announce the lucky winner on Car Clinic next week, just in time for Father's Day. All you have to do is enter to send your Car Story with Dad to carstory@carclinicnetwork.com. Again, that's carstory@carclinicnetwork.com. Meanwhile, let's hear from Bill Wager in sunny Florida. Bill writes, "Hey, Bobby, just heard your story about Kim's Comet." This was really neat because it was my daughter's story. I did tell this a couple of weeks ago. And Bill goes on to say, it was really your story, Bobby, and it was. You're right, Bill. And Bill was reminded of one. This is not a dad story, but it brought back memories. My friend named Rex, who dated my sister, got a new white Comet. I'm going to say it was a 62 or 63. We call it a vomit. Yeah, I think we've all done that. So it must have been about 1967 when Rex drove up to Atlanta, where I was going to college, and I picked up my sister from her college in Gainesville, Georgia, and got me and my girlfriend, and we went to the Atlanta 500 and parked in the infield. Long story short, the roof of that Comet was never the same again after we watched the race and jumped up and down on it. And folks, that's really a neat, true story. Thank you, Bill. To read this and other car stories, you can go to facebook.com/Bobby Likis. It's really kind of cool. And again, I'll remind you to send your car story to me because we're going to be giving away next week, and you can enter to win a $550 Passport Max. So just send it to carstory@carclinicnetwork.com. Let's go to Kansas now and take a call from Eric, and then I'll take your call to 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Eric, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding. You were first to call, and glad to have you join us.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I've got a 64 Minneapolis Moline Jetstar 3 tractor, and it's going to be used for cultivating row crops, but the battery's dead, and I believe you were talking about some newer battery technology that is supposed to help take vibration and stuff like that better?
Power Frame, yes. It's a Johnson Controls brand. Power Frame patented grid technology. And the first thing, Eric, thanks for call. The first thing that I would, after our conversation, for your information, I'd like for you to go to powerframe.com so that you can look around there and learn more about it and read for yourself. But specifically, there are different, the grid of or the frame of a house or the columns of a bridge. I mean, that's what holds everything together. Well, in a battery, you can either have the Power Frame patented grid technology, or you can have book mold or expanded metal. And truly, that's the grid that generates the power inside the battery. And the Power Frame technology flows better. In fact, just let me share with you, from a structural standpoint, it's up to 66% more durable. That's what you were talking about. And more corrosion resistant than other grid designs. And of course, more durable means more dependable. And those are the kind of things that you're looking for, especially, with your tractor. So a Power Frame also provides superior cranking with up to, and get this, 70% better electrical flow than other grid technologies. So for my nickel, and we offer the Power Frame patented grid technology batteries. And that's not the name of the battery. That is the patented grid design of the structure of a battery. That's what's on the inside. And Eric, we never look at. I mean, how many times have you ever looked inside a battery?
I had one blow up once, and I looked. But that's beside the point.
Yeah. And so to that end, you can go to powerframe.com and take a look at the tests that they had performed, and look at the grid technology at 0 miles, and it compares a regular, book mold with the Power Frame patented grid technology. And then you look at 18,000 miles, and those tabs are on the bottom of the page there, and look for yourself. And as I understand, a fleet of taxi cabs in Las Vegas was used to test the Power Frame battery, the grid technology battery. And it's amazing at how long the Power Frame grid lasts when compared to a standard book mold or expanded metal battery. And it's one other thing too that you may or may not be interested in. You may be interested because you make your living there on the farm, so environmental issues have to be a part of your life. The factory where the Power Frame patented grid technology, the grids are made, is also a greener, 20% less emissions than standard factories. So there's a lot of good, and that is the newest technology that I know of, and it is the strongest inside in the battery technology that I'm aware of. Any questions?
Does that website have retailers?
Yes.
Listed?
Yes.
That has them?
It does. You can go when you go to Power Frame, where to buy, and it will give you a link of where to buy. There in, where do you live? In Kansas?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So that's the battery that I would recommend, and we have added that line of batteries to our cars. And I told a story, and I know that Roxy and Cliff, you're on hold there, so please, if you would, just stay there. But I want to quickly share this story with you. Eric, we put one of these batteries in one of our customers' cars, and they have a house here in Pensacola and one in Houston. And she drove from Houston back to Pensacola, and her alternator went out. And I don't know where it went out, so I want to say that right up front. And I'm going to reach out to her and find out. But she drove from Houston to Pensacola on the battery. And not only did she make it home all right, which that's a very powerful testimonial for the internal strength of that battery, but she was able to fire the car up and bring it into the shop the next day. And, when you're driving down the road, you turn the AC off, you've got the electric fuel pump and all the computers on board. And so there's a lot of voltage use. Everything starts at the battery with today's automobiles, and a lot of today's, including the car that I drive, a lot of cars have 2 batteries, especially the ones that have the start-stop. So that's what I'd recommend for you. And if I were in your position, that's exactly what I would use, a battery that used the PowerFrame patented grid technology.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for your call. It's very timely, and folks, I got to tell you, there are products that are superior to other products because it's pretty simple to think about. If you're in that business, and I say that business, meaning that you're in the engineering business, such as a company, as I mentioned, Johnson Controls, it's a global company, then indeed, when you see a need, you can fill that need. And so that's a brand of Johnson Controls, and it's called PowerFrame Patented Grid Technology. I see that Roxy from New York is on the phone. Roxy, I'm going to ask you to hold because we have time, Tony? Yeah, okay. Let's put her on the air. All right. Roxy, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic from New York. Thanks for holding.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a 2001 Toyota Solara.
Okay.
And I was having trouble. The check engine light was coming on, and I had it checked, and it said that it was the EGR.
Right.
And then I had a great deal of work done on my car, and they fixed the valve cover gasket and replaced, $700 worth of stuff. And the light went out. But at the same time, when I left the garage, I had them plug in one of those little monitoring things for my insurance company.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And that's so cool. I drove 10 miles, and the check engine light came back on. I went back to the garage,
right,
and they took it out back, and it was throwing a different code. It's throwing something about the transmission shift solenoid. Okay, so I said, well, I haven't got enough money to deal with that right now. And so I drove, and the light went out, and then it came back on, and then it went out, and then it came back on.
Mm-hmm.
I had removed the little gadget from my insurance company because I went online and discovered that one of the companies that I won't name who has that gadget has a class action lawsuit against it because that gadget has screwed up batteries and electrical systems. So now I'm just wondering, do I really have a problem, or do I not have a problem?
That is a great. Roxy, that's a great question. I can't answer that question, and I'm not familiar with. I'm familiar with the device, and I know that it's offered to help track the way you drive the car, those sorts of things. I'll tell you, stay right there. When we come back, we got some more great car stories coming up, and some other ideas for you as well. And you spent some money, so stay tuned. I'll be right back after this break. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. E15 as a choice at the pump benefits engines of today's EPA E15 approved vehicles. The first gas station offering an E15 alternative to drivers of light-duty vehicles, model year 2001 and newer, opened its E15 pumps to consumers in Lawrence, Kansas in July 2012. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
This K&N Delivers Economy feature is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. We break into our piggy banks for lots of reasons these days. Vacations, educations, new boots. But for goodness sake, don't toss your money to the wind for disposable paper air filters when K&N manufactures a washable, reusable, lifetime air filter. Quality engineered of high-flow cotton, K&N air filters are a perfect combination of the horsepower you crave and the money you save. Under normal driving conditions, clean your K&N air filter every 50,000 miles and enjoy the cost savings for the life of your automobile, truck, motorcycle, RV, or ATV. K&N air filters have delivered more without the of replacing paper air filters for over 30 million drivers. For more ways that K&N delivers economy, go to knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Live from Progressive.
Flo here. Today we're talking to
Newlyweds.
Hi, my husband and I are combining our policies, and my mother-in-law says we can save with Progressive.
Well, with online, homeowners, and multi-car discounts, saving on car insurance is easy.
So you're saying she's right?
I'm saying get used to it.
Get great savings and more at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Mayfield Village, Ohio. Discounts not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Every year there are over 20 million car wrecks in this country. It's not pretty. But people bang out the dents, rebuild them, and resell them to, well, maybe you, bucko. If you're buying a used car, it's a crapshoot. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history on any used car. Visit CARFAX.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment, folks. Thanks for tuning in today. And just remember that every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, you can go to your local AM and or FM station and find Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And, of course, social media. We have all the social media, Facebook.com/Bobby Likis. That's Likis. Twitter.com/Bobby Likis. Pinterest.com, same. And Car Clinic, Bobby Likis Car Clinic .tumblr. That's really kind of neat. TUMBLR. That's Bobby Likis Car Clinic .tumblr.com. Very interesting. And I hope that you're watching right now at youtube.com/Bobby Likis, because we are in full screen, true HD high definition, 100% ad-free. And that's really neat, because if you hear a customer or a caller's call and you're right in the middle of it, and then it breaks through with a commercial. So we had that challenge, and thanks to my team, and Tony did a great job there. I appreciate that. And we actually have joined with Google's group on YouTube. And so not only can you watch the show in HD, but you can rewind, pause, and add me on your Google Plus straight from the YouTube channel. So go social, get social with me. We have a phone bank full, so without further ado, I'm going to go back to Roxy in New York. I see that we also have Britta Gross on the phone, who is the director of General Motors Advanced Vehicle Commercialization. So I'll ask you, Britta, if you'll hold. And then let's go back to Roxy. Roxy, on this Toyota, let me share this with you. The reader that your insurance company gave you to plug into your car is a reader. And what it means by that is just like when you open a book or you open your computer to read a document, unless you push a button and change the document, you can't change the way the car runs, and you can't make changes within the architecture of the vehicle's electronic controls. The device that your insurance gave you is a reader. Now, I could be proven wrong. You said, and you mentioned there was a class action suit. Does that suit say or imply that the reader is affecting the car's performance and making the check engine light come on? Say again?
It does.
It does say that?
Yes.
And did your... Well, therefore, if that's the case, if you took the reader out and cleared the codes, then the car would be fine, right?
Theoretically.
Theoretically. Well, of course, you're right, theoretically.
Well, like I say, it keeps coming back. It'll go off. And it seems to come on most when the car is thoroughly warmed up, after I've been driving a distance or after I've been running here and there and back and forth.
Well, so what I know from my all the years in service is that when that check engine light comes on, and it's affected at a different temperature, hotter than versus colder, then it only means that whatever's happening happens at a hotter temp. And for example, an engine that's cold requires more fuel. And that's when old cars had automatic chokes. New cars just turn the injectors on for a longer pulse width, and that makes it run richer. And then as the engine warms up, the oxygen sensor reports what the engine's doing to the computer, and the computer tunes the engine as you drive. Unless the oxygen sensor is not doing its job, or unless an injector is not doing its job. So you've already told me that you removed this device and the light's still coming back on. Have you had the codes read after the device was moved?
Yes, and it's saying, I think it's, I can't remember.
Okay, all right, you don't need
four
to.
4 times, but it's the transmission.
All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do this. I want you to go back to the shop and have them to use their scan tool and to clear all of the codes of your Toyota and with a unit out of it, and then I want you to drive it again and go back and see if that same code still exists, and then that'll give you a baseline, and that'll give you some hard evidence. So you got that? That's what I want you to do, your next step.
But they can't read it unless it comes back on, can they?
Oh, no. They can read it even if it doesn't come back on if they have the proper equipment.
I took it over to the Toyota garage when the light was off.
Well, they ask them to, again, make sure that they clear the codes, clear all the codes, and then you drive the car until the light comes back on, and you go back in there and read it again. And then you call me back after you get that next bit of information, and we will help you go to the next step. Hey, thank you for your call from New York. I see that Walter's on hold and Cliff from New Mexico. And also, we have Britta Gross, who is the Advanced Vehicle Commercialization Director for General Motors. Britta, I want to welcome you back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you, Bobby. It's great to be here again.
First things first, tell Car Clinic listeners and viewers about your role at GM. What is Advanced Vehicle Commercialization Policy?
Well, when we design vehicles and roll them out into the market that run on something other than gasoline, we have to strategize and think through how do you put in fueling or charging for that kind of a new technology. So I'm responsible for laying out those strategies, thinking about partnerships, thinking about what the opportunities are in the future for maybe using batteries and ground storage with the utilities. Anything in the energy space around the vehicle is what I do today.
Wow, that's great. General Motors recently announced, as I understand, that it installed 401 electric vehicle charging stations at its U.S. production and business facilities. Britta, tell Car Clinic listeners and viewers what this means for GM's employees and visitors at these sites.
Yeah, let me tell you what this is, because this is really exciting. There's a national movement right now to get companies to install workplace charging because the barrier in the market, and the market's been doing pretty well. The Chevy Volt, for example, has been in the market since the end of 2010. And in the 3 years or so, the industry sold almost 200,000 plug-in electric vehicles. So that's a pretty good number, actually, given the sort of the competition out there and how tough it is to get your messages out there. But building awareness and education is really the big barrier. And so if companies like GM would go in and install even a few outlets for their employees to just plug in their vehicles during the day, it sort of becomes this attention getter in their parking lot. And so not only is it a great sustainability leadership move by the company, but you can also excite your employees by becoming part of this. We want to create this new thing for employees. We want to sort of incentivize them in a very small way to be aware of these vehicles available in the market, go buy one, plug them in. You can plug at home, you can plug at work, and find out how cheap and easy it is to drive these plug-in vehicles.
We're talking with Britta Gross, Director of General Motors Advanced Vehicle Commercialization Policy. Is GM working with other companies or employers to grow the workplace electric vehicle charging structure?
Yeah, you bet we are. So what it is that we definitely believe in showing, being part of the solution and getting out there and just demonstrating and learning along the way as well. So we've put in over 400 workplace chargers. We only started with 100 a couple years ago, and it just, the employees keep going out and buying these electric vehicles because they get excited and they see, again, how cheap it is. For less than $1.50, you can charge a vehicle like the Chevy Volt completely top off the battery from zero to full. And so for $1.50, that's cheaper than a cup of coffee or a pen in your office supply store at work. And so for that kind of cost, other companies can sort of create these virtual showrooms in their parking lots and get their employees excited because then their fleet managers get informed. Companies like big companies with names that you'd all recognize, Coca-Cola, Google, Verizon, General Electric, 3M comes to mind, Duke Energy. Big name companies are doing the same thing. They're getting out there, they're putting the toe in the water, saying, let's be part of creating the future that we want to see. And so sort of spreading the word, showing how this is done, how how simple it is to get started, and just creating that excitement out there and then growing that awareness is a really great way to influence the market and make sure people are aware of these products.
Well, Britta, where is GM with electric vehicles to date, and how many models are currently on the road? And can Car Clinic listeners and viewers expect to see more? Give us the inside scoop on electric vehicles, GM's numbers, and future models.
Yeah, we have 3 vehicles in the market today that are plug-in. So Chevy Volt was launched back in the end of 2010, the Chevrolet Volt. It's a 380-mile vehicle where the first 38 miles are all electric, so as long as you top it off overnight or at work, for example, that vehicle will be electric as often as you can get that battery topped off again. So most Americans don't travel more than 30 miles a day anyway, so the 38 miles should cover almost everyone's daily commutes and a lot of errands by the way. We also have the Cadillac ELR, which is a similar powertrain. We call these extended range electric vehicles. And then we also have a pure battery electric vehicle called the Chevy Spark EV, and that's available out in California and Oregon only at the current time. To date, we've sold about 60,000 Chevy Volt. So it is the highest selling plug-in vehicle in America today from launch in 2010 up to now. So it's done very, very well. Again, we'd like to do better, and we'd like the market to grow, and we think that just this awareness is what's sort of in the way.
Well, of course, the Cadillac ELR is a drop-dead gorgeous automobile and powerful as well. How's the Spark being received in the market?
You know what? It's got great reviews. It is the most efficient electric vehicle on the market today. So we've done a great job of learning through the Chevy Volt and learning about battery technology and control systems and software algorithms and so on. So we've really finessed what you can do with batteries today. It's a really fast car. It's got like 400 foot-pounds of torque. So really amazingly fast off-the-line torque, which is what makes electric cars sporty and incredibly fun to drive. Like I said, it's only available in California and Oregon. We're trying to test the market to figure out what's happening with pure electric vehicles. We are still pretty convinced that there's no reason why every driveway in America doesn't have a car like the Chevy Volt today. For a quarter of the cost of driving on gasoline, you could be driving a vehicle that's using electricity that's almost invisible on your electric bill every month. So there's really no reason because it's got full range. You can go cross-country with the vehicle. Like I said, every time you can find an outlet to plug it in, a normal household outlet, you can top off that battery and charge it right back up. So again, we're kind of watching to see what happens in that pure battery electric vehicle market. It's a really crowded marketplace today, but the Chevy Volt and the Cadillac ELR they're the ones that are really functional vehicles that don't have limitations, and you can sort of just do everything with the vehicles. There's no reason why you couldn't do all your errands, all your spontaneous meetings, or go to hospital appointments or doctor's appointments. You can do everything in the vehicle because there's no limit on the range of the vehicle. It's electric, and then it goes on to the gas side if you need to go on longer trips.
Definitely, and no doubt about it, I think that in part is also helping to keep gas prices lower because there's a certain threshold, what I call a choke hold, where when gas prices reach X amount, then people are going to say, we have to go to different modes of transportation. Britta Gross, Director of General Motors Advanced Vehicle Commercialization Policy and Electric Car Guru, I would say. Britta, thanks for joining us. One more question. Well, you are. You know things that people need to know, and you've been there, you've done that. You and your associates drive these vehicles, you ride these vehicles, and you know what it costs to charge the vehicle. Give us a website so that our Car Clinic listeners and viewers can learn more.
You know what? Head to ChevyVolt.com, and all the information should be at that website.
Britta, thanks so much for joining us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic today. We'll have to get you back in the house one day.
Thank you, Bobby. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
How cool is that? Yeah. In fact, I'm going to have to. I need to call her back. I need to get her back in here, Tony, and get an ELR. We need to test an ELR. That will be one fine ride, folks. A quick break coming up, and then I'm coming back to Cliff and Walter and your calls at 888 Car Clinic. Gas prices we mentioned $3.69 nationally, $4 on the West Coast, and that's up 4 cents from same time last year. Back with your calls at 888 Car Clinic.
Fortune 500 companies choose
Welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Tony and I were just talking between the hour about New Orleans, and just as an FYI, I will be headed to the Big Easy directly after our post-show meeting and today, because I'm actually road testing. This is the line of work, folks. I'm road testing a 2015 K900 Kia. And it has the cruise control is unbelievable. And speaking of cruise control, Cliff has waited long enough. Cliff is calling from New Mexico with a general question about cruise control. Cliff, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us today, and thank you so much for holding.
Thank you, sir. It is an honor to talk to you.
Well,
listening to you is like going back to automotive school last year and just getting everything from safety to keeping up advances of things. You truly do keep us all updated, because everybody needs to know what's going on out there, and you truly do that.
Well, I thank you for that. It drives me. It being the technology drives me, and I understand cam duration and lift and carburetors and what have you. But yesterday I was driving this K900. With the cruise control, and you had a general. Let me go ahead and ask your question and give us a little information about you. You said us. I mean, are you in the industry?
Yes, I am. I just was the first in New Mexico. I believe I sent you an email for my article from the Albuquerque Journal.
Now I remember.
I went to Las Cruces to the automotive school there for Doñana Community College. It's owned by the NMSU of the state college, and I was the top student of my class when I graduated. I was at a 3.8, and I am probably the rarest in the United States to have done it so far. They think another one or two have done it, but it's very rare to find that out of 300 million people trying to go to automotive school. But you have to be in love with automotive to be able to do that.
Yes, sir.
And to be a guru, and to be able to have an interest in it. So I took the interest, going back into it again, and many years later, after losing my eyesight, to do that, and was very, I didn't think it ever would happen, but it did. And it was almost like winning the Daytona 500, kind of graduating through it and getting it done and moving on to better things.
So, Cliff,
I'm still trying to do.
Cliff, let me understand. So you lost your eyesight, and you are now a certified technician?
No, I have to have a job first to get that done to do my ASCs.
Okay.
But I do have the degree through the automotive technical department of Doñana. That's what they're working on now. They're getting me a job to do that.
That is phenomenal, and I just have to applaud you. You must have the feel and touch and sound and all of your senses. And over the years, I know that, for instance, when I road test a car, I'm one of those guys that you don't want to take out to dinner, because when I'm riding in the back seat of the car, I said, "Oh, did you know you got a rear tire or a bearing band?" And
yes, that happens.
That's just
it's
our nature. Yeah, it is. It's our nature, and
it's irritating to some people.
It can be. Yeah, and to that end, a man's got to know his limits, and whenever it's raining. There's no way that you can check for noises or brake squeals it's like buying a used car in the rain. Not so much today because the bodies are so well made, Cliff. But historically, I would warn all my customers not to buy a car after a fresh rain, or if a car's just been washed for you, because the water lubricates all the doors, and a car that's dry. That's why a car that has just been detailed does drive better, because it's lubricated all the little hidden points because it hasn't had time to dry out. But anyway, congratulations, and double congratulations on your passion for the industry, and you are a rare individual indeed. How can I help you?
Well, you were talking about cruise controls, and every time people talk about cruise controls, I get a little emotional, because people don't realize where it originally came from. And you may know this. A man named Ralph Teeter was an engineer. And Ralph Teeter created many different things. And Ralph Teeter also created the Speedo for the 1958 Chrysler. Well, Ralph Teeter was also completely blind. And I never want to forget that. That's what inspired me to do this also, was to remember people that were disabled that created many different things in the automotive industry.
That's amazing.
It's amazing that he can do that, and he couldn't see the drive. But yet he can create something that saves our life today, and it also saves us from getting a ticket.
Well,
and it's really amazing.
To that end, I don't know if you heard me earlier. I'll just shorten the story. I drove from I-10 West around the curve to I-110 South, exited on Airport Boulevard, which all this required different speeds, stopping and waiting for the light to change to green. And I followed the van, and this car was on the latched-on cruise mode. And I will tell you, it took some doing on my part. I had my foot ready to touch the brake. And this car, I drove from I-10 down 110, stopped, followed the car, and all the way to the back door of my facility. And I never touched the brake, and I never touched the accelerator pedal. And that's a technology, you know, I call it stealth, but it's actually the latched-on technology that the Kia K900 has. And what is really neat, Cliff, on the dash cluster, when you latch onto the car in front of you, there's a ladder bar. So imagine railroad tracks with the ties as the ladder bar, and you can push a button and you can close up the ladder bar. You can follow more closely or farther away. Of course, I was in the farthest back mode so that I could follow the car because it was a new unit to me, and I'm excited because in some 30 minutes from now, I'll be driving the car on the road using that option that I really, really like. And next week I'll have more information. So make sure you tune in next week.
I will.
But your what you bring to the industry, you need more people need to know about you, because there are people that are in the industry that get a toolbox and two tools and think they can service cars. And today's cars are so sophisticated.
Yes, they are. Yep.
You know, it's gosh, I could talk to you for an hour. I don't have the hour, but I really congratulate you on your accomplishment, and you got to feel good about that.
I'm right now what the state is trying to do, such as the Commission on the Blind. They're trying to find me a job right now in this industry, and 2 of the articles got sent to GM and Chrysler. And I got a call from GM yesterday, and they want to send it to their people and see what they think. And then Chrysler, I just talked to the guy yesterday, and he said, would you mind going online, see if you could want to fill out an application called Hearing Tool. What they would do would probably hire you to hear cars make sounds that they can tweak out and maybe figure out what's going on, so they can get those sounds out of the system, like the kinks and the squeaks and all that.
To that end, there and I, you know, I just hung up with Britta Gross, who is the director of Advanced Vehicle Commercialization, and I'm going to reach back to her, Cliff, and I'm going to get one of those ELRs to road test. But that aside, there's one arena that all OEMs are all interested in, and I was asked years ago if I would help and want to be involved, but at the time I just opened my shop, and the answer was no. It's called NVH, and that's noise, vibration, and harshness. That is the number one concern of OEMs, because when you build a lighter car, it's like ringing the gong. You know, if you got a 10-pound lead on the back of the gong, it goes thud. But if you don't, it goes. That's the same way with a car. A car will vibrate and shimmy and shake when you hit a bump, more so than a heavier car. And how do you make a lighter car drive like a heavier car and feel that one, you know, that solidarity? So the bottom line is, that's as a buzzword for you, NVH. So if anywhere on that test or on that application, it's a what can you bring to the table, or what are your skills? Truly, noise, vibration, and harshness is not something you see with your eyes. It's what you feel with your flesh. And so I think that's a perfect, if I may, I think that's a perfect place for you. And would you stay in touch and
I will.
Please do that. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your call.
You too. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Walter, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. That's amazing that we just talked to a technician who's lost his eyesight, and you got I don't know what your question. See, you got an 02 Trailblazer, but anyway, Walter, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, and while he was talking, I was thinking, that K900 must be an amazing car. I have not seen one yet, but I was thinking, when I was back in high school, my mode of transportation was a 1932 Model A.
Wow.
With its 6-volt system and the mechanical brakes.
Mechanical brakes. Can you just imagine now? I mean, mechanical brakes is like, I promise to stop if you got a 2-acre field.
Well, it was a challenge sometimes.
Sure.
There were a couple of times that I came very close.
Wow. Well, what can I do?
It's somewhat related to my question. I have this 02 Trailblazer with 248,000 miles on it, and it is running very well. I have no plans to get rid of it, but I am having this problem with the EBCM.
Yes.
I put a remanufactured EBCM on it, and everything works great in the braking system, except for the fact that when I'm braking to a full stop, whether I'm braking easily or perhaps a little harder, the anti-lock triggers at 7 miles an hour as its speedometer comes down.
Okay.
That shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't. And I've seen cars do that, and I've actually driven cars, and that's kind of it's even before the light comes on, you can feel that little shudder.
That's right.
Well, the reluctor ring. I don't know if you're familiar with a reluctor ring, but each wheel has its own little speedometer.
Yeah, that's in the hub.
Yes, sir. And
okay, so you're saying there may be a problem with the hubs.
Absolutely, there may be a problem. One of the reluctor rings could be broken, and it looks like the teeth on a flywheel. If you've ever replaced the teeth on a standard transmission flywheel, you heat it up and drop it on, then it seizes. And the bottom line, a reluctor ring has teeth so that it triggers the sensor that is bolted adjacent to it. Doesn't touch, of course.
Right.
And so there are scan tools. I know our Terry has one or several. There are scan tools that will read the speed of each wheel. Even if you turn the wheel, there's a certain immediate speed that it shows. And also there's an ohms resistant readout for the speed sensor itself. So you could have a speed sensor at a wheel or a reluctor that sends the braking signal to that speed sensor that would cause that very problem. And it wouldn't surprise me that it would be one or the other. And it could be, I doubt it's this serious, but you've got 240,000 miles. It could be that you've got an axle and moving and not keeping the right distance, and it has to be a pretty bad axle bearing for that.
At this mileage, there's got to be some wear and play.
Sure.
In there, yeah.
So then, having said that, and you're a savvy guy, what I would look at first, if I were you, is put the car on a lift and pull the wheels off, and visually inspect for any touching of those components, because they're not supposed to touch. And you may have to take the bolt out and pull the sensor out and look at the end of it. It's like putting your hand near a turning. Well, you wouldn't put your hand into a fan, but if you did, it would cut the end of your finger off.
Right,
I know because I actually did that. Years ago on a Mercedes-Benz, I didn't think the cooling fan was working on the front of the car because it was going so fast I didn't see it. And I said, that's not working. And I swear, I look at the scar right now. I put my finger in there and it. So anyway,
so you did that too. Huh?
I did. You've done that too, huh? So we don't want that sensor to be touching that reluctor or that. So that's what I would recommend that you do. And in the final analysis, a professional scan tool can read the speeds generated by each of the wheels, and then that's a step in the testing. I started to say diagnostics. I don't like to use the word diagnostics. No. It's testing. Diagnostics it implies that once you've diagnosed something, that it tells you what's wrong with the car, and that's just not the case at all. You run tests, just like we do in the doctors. Anyway, thank you again for a pleasure talking with you, and thank you for waiting so long to get on the air.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
It's nice to chat with you, Bobby.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you and your confidence in me. And folks, I got to tell you, what a great show. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic has been brought to you by AC Pro. And if your car's air conditioning is not blowing cold enough air, you bring back the cold in under 10 minutes with a do-it-yourself AC Pro kit. Go to acprocold.com for the store nearest you. I got to thank you again for joining us. I'm headed to the Big Easy in the 2015 Kia K900. Be sure and tune in next week for an update on the latest and greatest Kia yet to be seen. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with